Alrighty, folks, we are back with the one and only Coach Carson, Chad. And Chad, I understand you had something on your mind this week that most real estate investors, frankly, don't think about, but is very, very important. So, what's got the old noodle thinking about?
Yeah, I'm going to make an admission here. I'm going to make myself not look good in that
Okay.
I would give myself a C plus in insurance over the years as a real estate investor. It's been adequate. I've had a couple claims, thankfully not a lot, but I think I realized that I did a episode of my YouTube channel this week on insurance. And as I started digging into it, I realized like I don't really pay attention enough to the details. Like if you were to really study it and understand it, and I'll give you an example why. Like I had one of my property managers texted me last week and said, "Hey, we have this tenant who has a 70-pound or 80-pound husky who wants to rent your place, and we do allow pets in this apartment." And I'm like, okay, is this one of those? Is this one of those dogs that's not allowed?
Yeah, the
Doberman
breed.
pictures, the breed. Yeah. So I emailed my insurance agent, and I was like, who's a commercial broker. I was like, hey, are huskies allowed in my policy? I just wondered if you could help me out with that. They're like, actually, no pets, or there's an exception for all pets. Like we don't cover your liability policy doesn't cover pets at all. And I was like, really? Like that's
Whoops.
that's news to me. I'm allowing pets, and so I admit that because maybe other people can relate to me. That do you really understand everything in your insurance policy? Have you read all 150 pages of it? And what I'll bet money on this, is that your insurance company knows it a lot better than you do, and they understand the risk better than almost all of us do. So I guess it was just a challenge for myself to study it more. I'm going to put all my policies in ChatGPT, for example, and just say, hey, have a discussion with me about my policy, talk about best practices. I'm going to review this with on my own. I'm also going to hire an attorney to review it with me. And so it was just kind of a wake up call that, all right. And also the fires in California is a wake up call. The hurricanes early this year is a wake up call. Like it was something that I used to just check off a list for years. Like, oh, I got my insurance. I know what the deductible is. I know what the policy is. But did I really like pay attention to it and study it like I should? No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's really funny you bring this up because I went through kind of the same thing about 2 years ago with my insurance. And I just had a talk on this with my show. And again, I had Steadley on a couple of weeks ago, their claims director on. And we had a conversation again because of the LA fires, and we were talking about replacement cost.
Yep.
Right. And a lot of people don't really understand replacement costs. And like you, I would have given myself a C, maybe even a C minus 2 years ago, because I looked at my portfolio and I was underinsured for replacement costs on about 80% of my portfolio. Now, thankfully, it was 5 or 10%, but you add that up across a lot of units, that's a problem. And a couple of them were probably 30% undervalued. And again, you got to remember, for the longest time, like you, Chad, for me, insurance was set it, forget it, right? Same policy, same deductible, same thing, same this. It's a commercial umbrella, so you're just literally adding properties to the policy. And I didn't think about it until we started seeing, inflation, and still we started seeing asset prices go up. And we've 2 years, I was shocked at how underinsured I was for replacement costs. And like you, I've had a couple of claims. I've had a couple of total losses over the years. So being underinsured, not a good thing.
Yeah. And underinsured can mean a lot of different things. I mean, the most obvious is the value of the property replacement cost. And that could be a whammy. Like if 5-year properties got burned down and you had insurance and you couldn't build but 70% of them back, like you'd have to go borrow the money. You'd only build 4 of them. So, I mean, that's one thing. But then the other is like, the liability that, so many people worry all about this stuff about, LLCs and all these trusts and crazy stuff. And like, well, have you checked your insurance yet? Like, have you actually like paid attention to, that's the first line of defense. Like, what are we doing
absolutely.
here? So I think just you're being undercovered in other areas too. Like, like we had a fire and we had the tenant couldn't live there, yet we still had a mortgage payment. So do you have rent replacement, and how much do you have? Is that up?
And how long?
Up to the, and how long is the up to the numbers that you should have now? That's another thing you got to think about. Personal property. Like I typically typically like to have big deductibles. Like I'm getting into this phase, the
What's
harvester
what's a
phase.
big
Yeah.
deductible to Chad? Are we talking 10 grand or what are we talking?
I wish we could do 10 grand. I do 5 grand on a lot.
Yeah,
I would consider doing even bigger though, because one of the takeaways for me having my conversation with Steadily, and this has been my gut feeling and conversation all along, is that the more claims you have, the higher risk you are perceived to be to the insurance company.
sure.
Therefore, you should not be doing little nitpicky, claims. You should, if it's $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, you should just pay for that,
Eat it.
because
Yeah.
it's not worth it if you couldn't get coverage, or if you have more expensive coverage when you actually need it to pay $100,000 fire or
Right.
something else. So I think that's been, that all of that is kind of one big picture, but there's just a lot of details to think about there. And it's one of those boring topics that nobody really wants to mess with. Like, who wants to look at, something that may or may not happen in the future? But I promise you, like, your insurance company knows those numbers cold, because they have millions of policies or thousands of policies. And so we're a little bit of a disadvantage. We have to study it and really focus. And I think, focus on this as a community of real estate investors, your community, my community, to really
Yeah.
collectively exchange ideas and understand it together.
Yeah, and the thing I like about Steadily is they're only landlord policies, right? They don't get confused with owner-occ policies. They provide umbrella policies, and obviously it's all online, right? So I think every real estate investor should go put an address that they have in there and just see. My audience over the last couple of months it's been about 50-50. About 50% of them got better coverage at better rates, and the other 50% didn't. Uh, which is okay, right? If you're
It's
in the
fine.
50% that didn't, great. Yeah, that means you already have great coverage. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool that Steadily reached out to both of us, and we're talking about insurance, because for decades I just didn't think about it. Right?
Yeah.
I got it. Don't get me wrong, but it was kind of set it and forget it.
Yeah, I agree. So I think this topic is one of those kind of like preventative maintenance in your house or security in your house. Like, until it really hits you upside the head, then it won't be an issue. But so I think it takes talking about it, takes thinking about it, and maybe telling stories like about you're going to hear some people this year with the hurricanes and with the fires who had some horror stories, and who learned what was really in their insurance policy in a negative situation. So if you can prevent that and not have to go through that yourself and learn from the pain of other people, better. That's better. That's using your intelligence.
Yeah. One of the things I would ask everyone to do, not many of us are going to do what Chad did, but if you can do it, right, put your stuff in Chat GPT, have it look at it, pay an attorney. Worst case, pull out what's called your deck page. It's usually one, maybe 2 pages, and just lists out what is covered. Actually go through that
Yeah.
and see and more importantly, ask questions like, what is this, right? Because again, your insurance agent, whoever you are paying to get coverage, they know every line item there. So they will be able to answer the questions for you, but it's your property. This is coverage for you. So understand it to the best of your ability.
The exceptions page is always interesting too, right? The things
Yeah.
that they do not cover. That would be, if I had read mine carefully, the dog pet coverage not being in part of it. That was a big deal. So read that, what's not covered. And if you're in an area that's flood prone, hurricanes, earthquake, you might have to get additional coverage if you have something that could be a big deal. So that's part of your evaluation of that as well.
Love that. Love that. Coach, if somebody wanted to reach out, get part of your world, where do we send them?
Go to my YouTube channel. I have a new episode every single week, and you got to just type in Coach Carson on YouTube. I also have an email newsletter where I really stay in touch every single week on Tuesday mornings. So go to coachcarson.com/newsletter. Love to hear from you.
Curious, how long you been writing a newsletter? That's pretty awesome.
2010, 9. I mean,
Damn, son.
Long time.
Long
Yeah,
time.
used to be 100 people. Like, I used to do a little bit of coaching, and I'd send out a physical newsletter to people. Like, this is back in the old days, but yeah, I've been writing a long time.
There you go, Coach. You're amazing, man. Take care.
Thanks, Mike.